At the airport gate, right before our vacation flight, I broke up with Ethan Cole. You're dumping me just because I assigned her the seat next to me. He smirked. Yep. He laughed and lifted his phone to hit record. Fine. Just don't come crying and begging me to get back together again later. Yeah, I'd initiated breakups 7 times before, and 7 times I'd crawled back to beg for reconciliation. To him, breaking up was nothing but a joke. What he didn't know was that the seat was just an excuse. I'd already canceled the ticket he'd booked for me, and I'd changed my destination entirely. This time, I was done with him for good. In a few hours, we'd be heading to entirely different cities. We all sail our own seas, and everyone finds their own shore. Ethan pointed the camera straight at me. I didn't look away. My voice was cold and steady. May 15th, 2026. Day 2677 of our relationship. Ella Bennett and Ethan Cole are broken up. This is our 8th breakup, and it's the last one. His face went blank for a split second. Then he laughed again. Wow, you even kept count of the 8th one. Huh? He swiped through his phone and pulled up an old video. Ethan, I didn't really mean it about breaking up. I just hate it when you're nice to other people. Please don't break up with me. Please. On the screen, I was clinging to a lamppost, sobbing and heaving. A total mess. A few people waiting nearby glanced over. Curious. That was the first time you tried to break up with me. He swiped again, scrolling for more clips. I pushed his phone away. I told you, this is the last time. He stopped smiling. But there was still disbelief in his eyes. Is this really necessary? It's just a seat. You're being so dramatic over nothing. Princess, it is necessary. Of course it was. We'd planned this trip for weeks, going to Miami to see the ocean. Just us and our friends. Then his coworker Mia Carter had invited herself along. Ethan had canceled all our original tickets just to rebook the whole group on the same flight. But somehow, everyone else was on that flight, everyone except me. I'd been bumped to a different departure. Half an hour later, and the seat right next to him. He'd saved it for Mia. At check-in, he'd even posted a photo of all their boarding passes to his Instagram feed. Who's gonna come feed the seagulls with me? Those adjacent seat numbers had burned into my vision. Ella, when are you gonna stop being so petty? He said. I told you. I forgot to add your ticket when I rebooked. The flight sold out the next day. Okay. I was lucky to grab you a seat on the later one. It's only a 4-hour flight. Mia sits next to me at work every day. Anyway, he sounded annoyed. Like I was the one being unreasonable. I took a deep breath. You don't get it. I don't care about a seat. I don't care about 4 hours on a plane. Come on, everyone's here. Don't make a scene. Okay, he said, if it's that big of a deal. I'll refund the tickets right now and we'll book separate ones. Just us. Happy. I looked up at him, and suddenly I was too tired to explain. You guys are changing flights. Which one? Can I come too? I'll have nobody to talk to the whole way otherwise. Mia popped up out of nowhere. She handed Ethan an iced Americano like it was the most natural thing in the world, then held her own cappuccino. Her eyes flicked back and forth between us. Wait. Are you two fighting? She nudged Ethan with her elbow. He didn't say a word. Is this about the seats? I turned to walk away, but she grabbed my arm. Ella, please don't be mad at him. This is all my fault, she said, soft and earnest. I don't really have friends at work. And Ethan's so nice he lets me tag along. If I hadn't decided to come last minute, he never would have messed up the tickets. He really didn't mean it. Don't let something this small ruin the trip. Small. I let out a cold laugh. Staying late with my boyfriend until midnight alone is small. Showing up at our apartment for dinner when I'm out of town is small. Sneaking onto his phone and setting your photo as his lock screen is small. You don't have any concept of boundaries between men and women, do you? If you want my boyfriend that bad, you can have him. Mia's eyes instantly welled up. She looked helplessly at Ethan. Ella, that's enough. Ethan pulled a tissue out and handed it to Mia. I picked the seats. Okay. Yell at me all you want. Don't take it out on her. Mia sniffled quietly. Ethan, don't fight because of me. I'm sorry. I'll go now. She turned and started walking toward the terminal doors. Ethan sighed and chased after her. The crowded terminal felt stifling. Like I couldn't breathe. I'd stayed up half the night packing, and I had a throbbing migraine. I bought a coffee to try and clear my head. From the seating area of the cafe, I heard familiar voices. Ethan's friends were hanging around, waiting to board. Where's Ella? Why isn't she with you guys? Throwing a fit about breaking up again. Someone chuckled. No way. Before the trip even starts. What is it this time? Thinks I didn't sit her next to me at check-in. Obviously. That's it. The guy shrugged. I don't know how you put up with her. Ethan brushed his hair out of his face. Gets on my nerves sometimes. Honestly, I'll make up with her once we get to Miami. Another friend chimed in. You spoiled her. Man, you brought this on yourself. Honestly. Mia's way easier to get along with. Hey, Mia, what kind of guys do you like? You into guys like me? Mia laughed behind her hand. She hadn't left after all. Before she could answer, Ethan kicked the guy's foot. Piss off. Then he turned to Mia. His voice softening. Stay away from guys like him. Total player. He's had more girlfriends than you can count on both hands. If he tries to add you on Instagram, don't accept. Everyone teased him. Whoa. Look at Ethan protecting Mia. You bring her along but won't let anyone talk to her. What's that about? You keeping her for yourself or something? Mia's face turned pink. Stop messing around. Even if I liked guys like Ethan, he'd never go for someone like me. Everyone looked at Ethan. He just smiled and said nothing. Mia laughed. Self-deprecating. See, he didn't deny it. So you guys better hook me up with someone nice. Ethan spoke slowly. Lazy and sure. Never said I wouldn't go for you. I set my coffee cup down on the table hard. A roar of laughter went up. Oh no. Wait, Mia said suddenly, counting heads and fumbling with her phone. I messed up the hotel rooms. I only counted the tickets when I booked 4 guys. 3 girls. I only got 3 rooms. She swiped through her phone again, and the hotel's sold out now. What am I gonna do? She looked up and spotted me across the room. She walked right over. Ella, I'm so sorry I forgot to book your room. There's another hotel nearby. But it's like over $1,000 more a night. But you know, you can afford it, right? Could you just book yourself a room there? I stared at her, expressionless. Why are you pinning this on me? You're the one who forgot the room. Why am I the one who has to fix it? She looked pained. Ella, I just started working. I don't make that much money. I cut her off. You were the one who insisted on handling the hotel bookings. Everyone already gave you the money. If you couldn't handle it, you shouldn't have volunteered. Mia's head dropped. She started crying quietly. Enough. Ethan walked up behind her. It's not the end of the world. Just book another room. He looked at me. You're not a kid anymore. You can handle a little change of plans, can't you? I laughed bitterly. Handle your coworker targeting me every 5 minutes. You mean? Mia looked up at Ethan with wet eyes. I really didn't mean to. Ethan lowered his voice. Ella, Mia's a nice girl. She doesn't have any hidden agenda. You're just biased against her. I'll book you an ocean view suite, okay? Let's just drop this and stop fighting. Am I the one fighting? I laughed, angry now. My phone rang. I was sick of dealing with all of them, so I answered and walked away. Ella, what time do you land in LA? I'll come pick you up. I could hear the hum of a treadmill in the background. 2 in the afternoon. My best friend Sophie Red laughed. You're really moving out to LA. You think Ethan's gonna let you do that? Ethan and I broke up. She paused. I figured, but are you actually sure? You've been together forever. I thought for 2 seconds. I'm sure. When I was in elementary school, I'd been in a car accident. The shock had left me unable to speak. Boys in my class would throw my books, draw all over my notebooks. Ethan had dragged one of them straight to the teacher's office. He came out with a bloody nose, wiped it on his sleeve, and grinned at me. Took care of it. Anyone messes with you again, I'll beat em up. I stared at him for a long time, and for the first time since the accident, I spoke. Thank you. He'd stared, then ran up and down the hallway yelling to everyone. She can talk. She can talk. We'd been inseparable ever since. For over a decade. We'd been part of each other's lives. Then, a few months ago, Mia had joined his team, and he'd started saying her name all the time. In those months, he'd changed his phone wallpaper. It used to be a photo from our trip to Honolulu. You'd been carrying me on his shoulders as the waves crashed in. And I was laughing so hard I could barely breathe. Then it became a landscape photo from his company team-building retreat. I never asked why. He never explained. I'd fought with him over Mia before. I'd broken up with him before. But every time, I'd lie awake all night, drinking just to fall asleep. Until last month, I'd worked until 11, and as I walked into my apartment complex, I heard footsteps behind me. I walked faster. They walked faster too. I called Ethan, once, twice, 13 times. He didn't answer. I panicked. I missed a step on the stairs and fell hard, twisting my ankle. My phone screen cracked. The call screen was still open. I don't know how I did it, but I dialed another number. It rang less than twice. Ella, don't hang up. Keep talking to me. Tell me exactly where you are. His voice was calm, but I could hear him standing up, moving fast. I told him my address. He said, 10 minutes. 9 minutes later, he was there. His hair was damp with sweat at the temples. He knelt down and lifted my ankle gently in both hands. He pressed lightly with his thumb. Does it hurt here? I nodded. He didn't say anything else. He stood up and turned his back to me, crouching down. Get on. Ethan had gotten home an hour later. He said Mia had an extra movie ticket and didn't want it to go to waste, so he'd gone with her. He'd put his phone on silent. I looked at him, and in that moment, I realized I didn't recognize him anymore. The giant ad screen in the terminal switched. The cover of the new Fortune magazine flashed up. A murmur went through the crowd. One of Ethan's friends pointed and yelled, "Hey, that's Liam Hayes." I looked up at the face on the screen, then glanced over at Ethan. He was staring at his phone, and Mia had leaned in right next to him. He didn't move away. My phone buzzed in my pocket, like it could feel me thinking about him. "I'll be waiting for you in LA." Before I could reply, another message popped up. "I'll pick you up at LAX." I blinked, then typed back, "You don't have to. Sophie's picking me up." A screenshot appeared in the chat. It was Sophie texting him, "Hey Liam, Ella's moving all her stuff to LA today, but my crush just asked me to play tennis. Can you go get her for me, please?" I sighed. Of all the best friends in the world, I had to get the one who'd ditch me for a date. Ethan wandered over to me sometime later, holding a lollipop. "Here, come on. It's a vacation. Stop being mad." I kept my face cold. What am I, 3 years old? Mia followed right behind him. She noticed my carry-on immediately. "Wait, didn't you check a huge suitcase already? Why do you have another one? It's like you're moving or something." She smiled, sweet and sharp. "Must be nice having a boyfriend to carry all your stuff for you." Watching her glued to Ethan's side was making me sick. "What, now you've got a problem with my luggage too?" I said. "I carry my own bags. Unlike some people who make their coworker's boyfriend carry everything for them." Mia froze, unable to come back with a word. "Come on," Ethan said, tugging my arm, trying to smooth things over. "I found this beachfront hotel. Got us a deluxe ocean view suite. The breakfast's supposed to be great." I pulled my hand away. "We're broken up. Sharing a room isn't appropriate." He laughed and laced his fingers through mine. "What breakup? We're not breaking up." Mia's mouth turned down. She didn't bother hiding her annoyance. "Ethan, which hotel is it? Maybe we should book there too." Ethan frowned and said no. "Nah. It's pretty expensive. Would cost you half a month's salary. We'll stay separate. We can meet up at the attractions later." Mia's face flushed bright red. "Ocean view suites sound so pretty. I've never stayed at a beach hotel before." She turned to me. "Ella, can I come take photos at your hotel? I brought so many cute dresses." I laughed out loud at the audacity. "Don't bother. You two can just share a room. Take all the photos you want." I turned and walked away. Every extra second with them made my stomach turn. Ethan ran after me and grabbed my wrist. "Stop saying stuff like that. You know I'm only staying with you." "I won't let her come take photos." "Okay." I held onto my suitcase handle and looked at Mia, standing there looking defeated. "Really? You're not gonna go after her? She looks like she's about to cry." Ethan groaned. "She's not my girlfriend. Why would I?" The boarding announcement blared over the speakers. Ethan took a deep breath and held both my hands. "I'm at gate 31. You're at 41. I can't walk you all the way there. Even if you don't like the plain food, eat a little something." "Okay, I'll take you somewhere good when we land in Miami. Call me as soon as you get there." I'll wait for you by baggage claim. He pulled me into a hug. All right. No more fighting. Okay. My phone buzzed again in my pocket. I didn't check it, but I knew who it was. His friends called him over. He let go of me. Go on. Head to your gate. We've got that nice ocean view suite waiting for us. See you soon. He turned around, took Mia's tote bag from her like it was nothing, and walked toward gate 31. Mia glanced back at me and smiled. It was the smile of someone who'd already won, and didn't even need to say it. Ethan, she called, running to catch up. Ethan Cole. We would never see each other again. I tossed the lollipop into a nearby trash can. I dragged my suitcase toward my flight to Los Angeles. The plane to Miami lifted off smoothly. Through the window, the city shrank below, blurring into gray. Ethan sat by the window, gripping the plastic cup the flight attendant had given him. His fingers squeezed hard enough to crumple the paper, making a soft crinkling sound. Ethan, look at this itinerary. Mia leaned over excitedly, shoving her phone almost in his face. People say this waterfront seafood shack is amazing. Can we go there for dinner tonight? Ethan hummed half-heartedly. His eyes never left his phone screen. It was too quiet. An hour had passed since takeoff, and Ella hadn't sent a single text. If this was any other fight, she'd have blown up his phone by now, complaining, sending angry memes, waiting for him to beg her to forgive him. That's how it always went. She'd say she was breaking up, but really she just wanted him to chase her. Ethan opened his pinned chat. The last message was from 3 days ago. From him. Got plans tonight. Be home late. Ella had never replied. He scrolled up, and it hit him Ella hadn't texted him first in forever. No random updates about her day. No rants about work. Nothing. A cold, tight panic crawled up his spine. Ethan, are you even listening to me? Mia tugged his sleeve, voice all whiny and sweet. Ethan pulled his arm away. He didn't say a word, for no reason he could name. He opened his text messages, buried under verification codes and spam. There was one from the airline. Ethan tapped it. His blood ran cold. It was a cancellation confirmation. Ella's ticket had been refunded days ago. Ethan's mind went completely blank. The cup slipped out of his hand and spilled all over the tray table. Water went everywhere. Ethan. What was that for? Mia yelped, grabbing napkins to dab at her dress. Ethan didn't even look at her. He shot to his feet, then froze, like he had no idea what to do next. Ethan, what's wrong with you? Mia cried. He collapsed back into his seat. Cancelled. She'd cancelled her ticket. But she was just mad. She had her suitcase with her. There was no way she'd actually cancelled it. The rest of the flight was agony. He couldn't sit still. As soon as the plane touched down, he ran straight to baggage claim. Ella's flight was supposed to land half an hour after his. He waited by the carousel for 30 whole minutes. But when the last bag came off and the belt kept spinning empty, she still wasn't there. Ethan stared at the empty conveyor belt. His eyes burned. He fumbled for his phone, hands shaking so bad he could barely unlock the screen. He called her, over and over. All he got was the cold, automated voice. We're sorry. The number you have dialed is not available. He called again. Same thing. He sent a text on iMessage. Ella, where are you? A bright red exclamation mark popped up. This user is not receiving messages from you. Ethan slumped back against a luggage cart. The noise of the airport swallowed him whole. He stared at the empty baggage belt, and for the first time, it sank in. Ella hadn't gotten on that plane. She was actually gone. The plane touched down at LAX. I dragged my huge suitcase through the crowd toward the exit. It held everything I owned from 7 years of my life. The parking garage air was warm and stale, thick with exhaust fumes. It made my head feel fuzzy. I pulled out my phone to check my messages. A hand with long, knuckled fingers reached for my suitcase handle. Liam Hayes smiled. I've got it. He took the heavy case from me like it weighed nothing. The red indent on my palm from the handle finally faded. Come on, car's right up front. His voice was low and steady. I followed behind him. He lifted the bulky suitcase easily into the back of his SUV. The trunk slammed shut with a solid thud. I stood by the back of the car, watching him walk back toward me. A wave of guilt washed over me. Liam, thank you so much for this. I really owe you one. I chose my words carefully. Polite and distant, You already drove me to the hospital in the middle of the night when I sprained my ankle, and now you're picking me up for a cross-country move. I don't even know how to pay you back." Liam stopped walking. The dim garage lights caught the sharp line of his jaw. He didn't answer right away. He just looked at me, steady and calm. There was nothing pushy about his gaze. But it felt like he could see right through me. "Ella." He said my name, quiet and direct. "Stop being so polite to me, and stop trying to push me away." I froze. All the polite lines I'd practiced died in my throat. He took one step closer, closing the distance between us. "Now that you're here in LA, I don't see the point in hiding this anymore." He looked me right in the eye, honest and unapologetic. "Last October, when you were at the New York office. That wasn't a coincidence. I checked your team's calendar ahead of time, knew what floor your meeting was on, what time it ended. I booked the conference room right next door on purpose." My head snapped up. I stared at him, stunned. Liam didn't look embarrassed at all. He just kept going, a faint smile on his lips. "And that day I asked for your number, and dialed it right there to save it. I already had it memorized. I just wanted you to save mine." A car rumbled past in the garage, but all I could hear was my own heartbeat, getting faster and faster. No games, no back and forth, no exhausting guessing games. This kind of straightforward, gentle honesty between adults made my chest feel light. In a way I hadn't felt in years. I squeezed the strap of my bag so tight my knuckles went white. "Liam," I looked down at the speed bump on the floor, unable to meet his eyes. I just got out of a 7-year relationship. My head's all messed up. I think I'm gonna need a really long time to figure things out. I didn't want to give him false hope, and I didn't want to use anyone as a rebound. Liam didn't interrupt me. He didn't look upset. He walked to the passenger side and opened the door for me. "I know." He leaned one hand on the top of the door and smiled softly. "I can wait." For simple words, they landed in my chest, warm and steady. I got in and fastened my seatbelt. Liam walked around to the driver's seat and started the car. The SUV pulled smoothly out of the dark garage. Bright sunlight flooded the car. I squinted, letting the light wash over me. It felt like the first bright day I'd had in a long time. He parked outside a quiet, upscale local California bistro. He'd reserved a private table ahead of time. No sooner had we sat down than Sophie called. "Ella, did you run into Liam yet?" Her voice was so guilty it was almost funny, and there was definitely no tennis court noise in the background. "You are the worst friend in the world," I said quietly. "Okay, fine." There was no crush asking me to play tennis. Sophie laughed nervously. Liam's been pining after you for so long. You're finally in LA. I had to give you two a chance to hang out alone." I glanced across the table at Liam. He was going over the menu with the waiter, telling them no cilantro, no garlic, all my least favorite things. Also Sophie's voice got small. "Careful, Ethan's been losing his mind looking for you. He called me, screaming at me, asking where you went. Said you actually canceled your flight." I messed up. "I thought he already knew you were in LA, and I let it slip. He knows you're there now. I'm so sorry. Ella, I really didn't mean to." I stirred my soup with the spoon. "It's fine." I cut off her apology before she could keep going. He was gonna find out sooner or later. It didn't matter anymore. I hung up. There was a little red notification badge on my messaging app. I opened it. The guys' group chat was blowing up. They always posted photos when they hung out. Today they were extra active, like they were making sure I saw it. Miami breeze hits different. Shame someone's missing out. Then a flood of photos. In one, Ethan and Mia were standing side by side on the beach. Mia had on a white sundress, grinning like she owned the place. Ethan wasn't smiling, but he was holding her sandy sandals for her. Another one was at the seafood shack. Mia was holding a peeled shrimp, holding it up to Ethan's mouth. The friend Ethan had kicked earlier typed, snarky as ever. Mia's actually chill, not like some people who storm off over nothing. For real, Ethan deserves a break. Forget the drama. They were posting all this on purpose. They wanted me to snap, wanted me to yell and argue in the group chat like I used to. Then Ethan would swoop in, all high and mighty, and tell me I was overreacting. I stared at the photos. I felt nothing. I opened the group settings. I slid my finger across the screen. Leave group chat. I tapped the red button, and just like that, it was quiet. A few minutes later, my screen lit up again, a text from an unknown number. I didn't have to guess who it was. Ella, are you done throwing your little tantrum? Running off to LA without a word. That's pretty immature. Whatever. I'm not gonna fight about it. Go clear your head out there. Come back to New York when you're calm. We'll talk. Every line reeked of someone who was absolutely losing his mind but refused to admit it. I laughed coldly. I blocked the number. Then, I flipped my phone face down on the table. Liam finished ordering and handed the menu back to the waiter. He looked over at me. Everything okay? Yep. I met his eyes and smiled, light and relieved. Ethan had no idea. He thought I'd go back to New York. Back to the apartment we'd shared for 7 years. He had no idea there was nothing left of me in that apartment. Not a single thing. My first week at the LA office, I sat at my desk going over last quarter's financial reports. My phone lit up, went dark, lit up again, all unknown numbers from New York. Memorial Day weekend was over. Ethan must have gone back to the apartment. I picked up the phone, hit decline without a second thought, and blocked the number. The screen went dark. I went back to typing. 6 o'clock sharp. Time to go home. I pushed open the glass doors of the office building. The warm evening air hit me in the face. I'd barely stepped off the sidewalk when a shadow lunged at me. Ella. His voice was hoarse, raw, almost broken. I stopped and looked up. Ethan stood in front of me, gasping for air. His eyes were bloodshot, his jaw covered in stubble. His shirt was wrinkled, collar unbuttoned. He looked wrecked, desperate. I hadn't expected him to follow me to LA. Ella, why is all your stuff gone? His eyes were red. He stepped forward, reaching for my wrist. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have left you alone at the airport. I shouldn't have brought Mia to Miami. Just come home with me. I got back to the apartment and everything was gone. I lost my mind. I stepped back, fast. His hand hung in the air, empty. I looked at him, crying and begging, and I felt absolutely nothing. I stepped forward and took his phone out of his hand. I unlocked it like I'd done 1,000 times, opened his photos, and found the video. I hit play. The noise of the airport terminal blared from the speaker. May 15th, 2026. Day 2677 of our relationship. Ella Bennett and Ethan Cole are broken up. The recording cut off. All the color drained from Ethan's face. His mouth trembled. He couldn't get a single word out. I handed his phone back to him. Ethan, we broke up. I looked him dead in the eye. Calm as anything. You recorded it. You were there. You confirmed it. Adults keep their word. I walked past his frozen body, straight toward the metro station. I didn't look back. Ethan didn't go back to New York. He checked into a hotel near my office. Every morning at 8:30, the front desk got a delivery of hot dim sum brunch for me. Every noon, a bouquet of red roses showed up at reception. Every evening at 6, he stood across the street from my building, just staring. I didn't give him a single glance. I gave the dim sum to the cleaning staff. The roses went straight in the trash. And him. He was just a stranger to me. Until Thursday afternoon. I'd just sat down in the cafeteria when my phone buzzed. A New York number I didn't have saved. I answered. Ella. Mia's voice came through, anxious and accusatory. Can you please tell Ethan to come back to work? I said nothing. My face stayed cold. He hasn't shown up since the holiday weekend. He won't answer his phone. Won't reply to texts. Our manager's furious. You two can fight all you want, but don't ruin his career over it. If he doesn't report back to work soon, they'll fire him for unexcused absence. She talked like this was all my fault, like I was the reason he was gonna lose his job. I huffed out a laugh. Mia, do you have me confused with someone else? I cut her off mid-rant. Whether he gets fired or not is none of my business. You two are so close. You tell him. I hung up. That weekend, I said yes to Liam's invitation to go see a musical. We were just walking out of the theater when a figure came barreling around the corner. Ethan reeked of cigarette smoke. He planted himself right in front of us, blocking our path. He stared at the space between me and Liam, his eyes blazing red. So this is why you had to move to LA, huh? He was yelling, chest heaving, pointing straight at Liam. You already found someone else, didn't you? That's why you dumped me so fast. He reached for my arm. Before I could move, a hand closed around Ethan's wrist. Firm and steady. Liam didn't look angry. He didn't even frown. He just stepped forward, putting himself between me and Ethan completely. Ethan, show some respect. His voice was even. But his grip didn't budge. He shook Ethan's hand off like it was nothing. Ethan stumbled back. He glowered at Liam, then looked back at me. Ella, I'll walk you home. Liam turned to me, his voice softening. Car's right down the street. I'll drive you. Two hands held out to me. I didn't hesitate for even a second. I walked right past Ethan, straight for Liam's SUV. As the car pulled away, I glanced in the rearview mirror. Ethan stood there alone, staring after the taillights, not moving an inch. A few days later, I got a call from Ethan's mom. She was crying so hard she could barely talk. Ethan had come down with a terrible fever, ended up in the ER. He was still in the hospital on N4. She begged me to come see him. Said he kept saying my name over and over. I sighed. I took half a day off work and went. When I pushed open the hospital room door, Mia was there, holding a bowl of warm spiced pear cider, fawning all over him. Come on, Ethan. Have a sip. It'll soothe your throat. Ethan's eyes were closed. He turned his head away, wouldn't even look at her. When he heard the door open, his eyes flew open. The second he saw me, they lit up like I was the only thing that mattered. Ella, you came. I knew you wouldn't leave me. He tried to sit up, yanking the 4-line in his hand until blood backed up into the tube. Mia stood there ignored. Her eyes welled up. Finally, she snapped. What is so great about her? Anyway, she pointed at me, voice sharp and shrill. She treats you like garbage. She left without a word. Won't even answer you. I'm the one who made you cider. I'm the one who came all the way to LA to see you. Why can't you just like me back? I looked at Mia, her face twisted with jealousy. It was almost funny. I walked up to the bed, my voice calm. Mia, you think bringing someone a bowl of cider is love? I spoke evenly, no heat. When he had severe depression before his junior year of high school, when he couldn't sleep night after night, I sat with him on the phone every single night for a whole year. I went to every therapy appointment with him. When he said he felt trapped, I'd bike him around the city just to get him out of the house. When he said he wanted to jump in the river, I sat with him on the bank until sunrise. I looked Mia dead in the eye, slow and clear. I went to a college 50 points below what I qualified for, just because he needed me there. The room went dead silent. Mia stepped back, stunned. Ethan lay there in the bed, listening to all of it, and tears started streaming down his face. He bit down on his lip so hard it almost bled, trying to hold in the sobs. He finally understood what he'd thrown away, the person who'd pulled him out of the darkest place of his life. And he'd ruined it. Mia grabbed for his hand. Ethan, I can do all that too. Ethan shoved her away hard. Get out. If it wasn't for you, she never would have left me. Get out of my sight. Mia froze, then ran out of the room crying. I looked at him, broken and sobbing in that hospital bed, and I felt nothing. Pull yourself together, Ethan. It was the last thing I said to him. You've got your whole life ahead of you. Don't make me lose all respect for you. I turned and walked out of the room. I didn't look back. When Ethan got out of the hospital, he quit his good job in New York. He moved to LA, got a job in the office building right next to mine. On rainy days, a black umbrella would show up at my office front desk. When I worked late, the guy at the convenience store downstairs would hand me a hot savory snack pack. Said someone already paid for it. He was trying to win me back, doing all the things I'd once done for him. But no matter how long he waited, no matter what he did, I never looked back. 2 years later, in Los Angeles, early autumn wind swept across the lawn, lifting the hem of my dress. I held a glass of champagne, standing next to Liam. All around us, glasses clinked and friends laughed. Till Liam and Ella finally engaged, Sophie was cheering louder than anyone, her eyes shiny as she clinked her glass against mine. I smiled and looked up at the man beside me. He was tucking a stray strand of hair behind my ear, his eyes soft. The engagement party was winding down. A waiter walked through the crowd and found me. He handed me a small blue velvet box. Ms. Bennett, a gentleman left this at the door. Said to make sure you got it. I stared at the box, my fingers pausing on the lid. Before I could open it, the microphone on the stage crackled. Liam's friends had pushed him up under the spotlight. All right, Hayes. Fess up. When did you first have a thing for our Ella? The crowd laughed. Warm and playful, Liam held the microphone. His gaze found me through the crowd. Steady and sure. Senior year of high school. City basketball championship. His low voice carried across the lawn through the speakers. Second half. My blood sugar crashed. I was leaning against the bench, white as a sheet, about to pass out. The game was tight. Everyone was watching the court. Nobody noticed. I didn't even think I'd make it through. He paused, a faint, soft smile on his face. Except this freshman girl, standing on the sidelines. She ran to the concession stand, bought a pack of fruit candy, and slipped it into my hand when nobody was looking. The whole crowd went quiet. I froze. A memory I'd forgotten completely hit me like a wave. That $50 pack of strawberry hard candy. That strawberry candy. I've remembered the taste of it for almost 10 years. Liam looked right at me, every word clear and true. From that day on, I promised myself I'd spend the rest of my life making sure you only ever tasted sweet things. My eyes burned. Everything went blurry. I'd always thought he'd fallen for me at first sight as adults. I had no idea this quiet, deep love had been growing for so long. The party ended. Guests started to leave. I walked out into the hallway alone, looking down at the unmarked box in my hand. I flipped the lid open. Inside sat a perfect, cut diamond ring. I recognized the style immediately. Years ago, when we were so broke all we ate was instant ramen, we'd stopped outside a jewelry store window and stared at it forever. I'd said I loved it. Ethan had promised, voice thick with emotion, that he'd buy it for me someday. Now he could afford it. Now he'd finally learned to pay attention, to remember the little things I'd said. But it was too late. I stared at the diamond, glinting under the hallway lights. I felt nothing. I closed the lid. Then I lifted my hand and dropped the whole box into a trash can in the corner. Footsteps sounded behind me, steady and calm. A suit jacket, still warm from being worn, settled gently over my shoulders. Liam wrapped his arms around me from behind, resting his chin on the top of my head. Come on, let's go home. I turned and slipped my arm through his. The early autumn wind didn't feel cold anymore. I looked up at him, and he smiled down at me. Yeah, let's go home. We all sail our own seas, and I'd finally found mine.